Association for Victims of Torture in Tunisia for the pioneering work that they have been doing, not just recently since the coup, but in the pre-revolution days, and their important work in ensuring that there is no impunity for human rights violations and their perpetrators, particularly the famous case against the interior minister at the time, under Ben Ali. It is sad that, in my teens, I remember following that, and it is sad that now, after the revolution and after a decade of democracy, we are back to those days, and it's sad that the work of this association and the work of civil society activists in Tunisia who are now bravely trying to resist the return of dictatorship. Sadly, this activism and these violations are not just in the past, and we are seeing now the same violations being repeated. Of course, that decade was not perfect, was not ideal, but there was undeniable significant progress in establishing the legislation, the institutions, the mechanisms that would prevent systematic human rights violations. It is also sad to see that the same countries that after the revolution recognized the folly of supporting and turning a blind eye to dictatorships in our region with the hope that they could bring stability while stifling freedoms and denying the legitimate rights and aspirations of their citizens to dignity. We see the same countries now going back to turning a blind eye, or worse, supporting dictators while they are engaged in systematic human rights violations, and by doing so, they are also betraying their own professed values of democracy and universal human rights. Of course, we cannot ignore the current context where everyone in the region and around the world is preoccupied with the genocide in Gaza. And for millions around the region, it is a compounded tragedy because they are not only witnessing this genocide and ethnic cleansing and starvation live on their screens and social media, but they are also seeing their dictators exploiting this to try and legitimize their own dictatorship. And we see dictators like Sa'id trying to present themselves as champions of Palestinians while offering nothing but empty rhetoric and failing to even vote for a ceasefire in Gaza, while relishing the double standards and hypocrisy that we see and the failure of the world to do something about what's happening. And we see dictators like Sa'id arguing that they should not be, we should not be seeking ideas like democracy and universal human rights, which he never believed in. So for us, it is a compounded tragedy, and however, we should not allow what's happening to, let us, give up on democracy in Tunisia and our region, because the two are not separate. It is also what we are doing here is to ensure that Tunisia is not forgotten, that we continue to put pressure on the regime of Sa'id and his allies, and to ensure that perpetrators of human rights violations do not enjoy impunity, and that's why we have used legal avenues that are available to us. And we also are calling on the European Union, the UN, and all these institutions to prove their commitment to these values and not to give any legitimacy to dictators like Qais Said, who have not only dismantled democracy in Tunisia while promising that by getting rid of democracy they will solve Tunisia's problems, which Qais Said exploited to justify his coup against democracy. We have seen that the situation has only exacerbated under him. We have seen the failure of his government to deal with the existing crisis. We have seen the deterioration of the social and economic crisis in Tunisia, and we have seen unprecedented problems, shortages, energy cuts, shortages in necessary goods, and this has been reflected obviously in the increase in migration, which seems to be the only angle through which Europe has shown any interest in Tunisia. Some argue that Qais Said will not be reasoned with, and he will not give any attention to these pressures. However, it is obvious that any criticism is faced with hysterical reactions from Qais Said, as we have seen recently with a critical French documentary which criticized the situation in Tunisia and the mismanagement of the economy and the destruction of Tunisian democracy, which has been criticized and attacked by Qais Said and his supporters as an attack on Tunisia's sovereignty. We have seen also how Tunisia has denied a European parliamentary delegation entry to Tunisia. So we believe that pressure can be put on the government and on Qais Said to restore democracy in Tunisia through stronger statements, through visits, and this will be something that is not only in the interest of Tunisia, but of our neighbors and Tunisia's partners as well. Thank you.